let's just place one for the memory of someone we all know to be such a beautiful, funny, wonderful, lovely person. Shall we?
Sharon!
Cheers! Sharon! I'm supposed to be able to say something because Sharon was so involved with the Mickee Faust Club, but with all theater. There are people here in every theater you can imagine, and Heather and Jeff and a lot of people could talk about how she was in theater. I was trying to get him to talk, but he said he's not going to open his mouth.
That's not happening.
Get that. But because she was, as you can see from this, she did so much in Mickee Faust. She was so wonderful in Mickee Faust. And I can't. But I will just say that she was a delight in every way imaginable.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And what we would like to do instead of, is that it would be very fun if people could tell their stories about her. Yeah, Heather, you want to?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Come on up. Okay. Now, they're kids, so make it relatively okay?
This is Sharon. So it's not like she murdered anyone.
Ask everybody to sign it.
Oh, okay. There's a book here with hearts on it, and people please sign. Says Dana. The last really good piece of theater I ever did, and may ever do, was a very small IRT production called Sea Marks, and we did it at the Warehouse. And if it had not been for Sharon Moskowitz, that would never have happened, because she was our assistant director, our stage manager, our lighting person, our sound person, our whole crew, and she and I shared the delightful experience of viewing The Rat at the Warehouse. At one point where I'm behind a flag on the stage and Jim is giving this amazing speech in front of me, I'm just, cold, and I look up and there's this big ass rat on a pipe, and I go, oh, like that. And then he left, and I thought,
For a drink.
I hope that, no, he went out on the pipe, and I thought, okay, Jim is really drawing focus, so nobody's really going to see the rat. But later on, I spoke to Sharon, and she said, I thought I heard something coming along that pipe, but I didn't want to look. And so, yeah, that was tons of fun. She also helped us learn lines. She was really, really, really good at running lines with us and would not put up with any paraphrasing, which I love in somebody who's running lines with you. My favorite Faust story about Sharon is extremely recent. The last time I actually got to speak to her, I was sitting in their living room, and I was sharing with Sharon and Ed about a thing I had seen recently that Riff Trax did. And it was the two women from Riff Trax who were talking over this movie. And at one point in the movie, things were going so slow, and one of the women said, oh my God, this movie is the pace movie for The Seventh Seal. And Ed laughed, and I laughed, and Sharon, who was looking very, very concentrated, went, da darka, da bluma. And oh my God, it was so wonderful, and we were like, yes, exactly. And then all three of us together went, blue. I got to share her company going back and forth to Moffat several times, and it's something I'll treasure forever because we got to talk a lot. And she absolutely astounded the doctors. She never didn't know what they were talking about. And in the ER, after having had a seizure, if you caught her at just the right moment and they asked her certain questions about her medical history, she just came out with it. Dates, places, times, medication. And she just always kept the best attitude. And she was a hard worker. She was a very loyal friend. I told my sister on the phone the other day she was so nice to people behind their backs. say anything about anybody to Sharon and not have
Sharon!
Sharon! So yeah, she is totally worth remembering. Please remember her always.
Would somebody else like to come up and tell a story?
I got one.
Would somebody else like to come up and tell a story? Come on up. Frank, come on up. I just want to elaborate on something for those of you who don't know. The Dark and the Gloomer reference is to a piece that we did called Persona Non Grata that was a parody of Ingmar Bergman, and that Sharon was in. And so that's what the Dark and the Gloomer and the blue comes from. Okay, Frank.
I don't know where to start. Sharon and I were in several pieces together. She was in the Father Frankie video.
One of the brave souls who would be willing to.
You were in it too. But Sharon came into Faust about a year or two before me, which really goes back. And one of the early things that I tried to do with Faust is I got with Sandy and Del Rey. I went over to the Rock Gym. And I thought, wow, we could do Shakespeare on the rocks. Put them in costumes, reciting Shakespeare 30 feet high up on the rocks. It was really kind of a stupid idea, but I wanted to do it. So, about a week before showtime, I asked Sharon, would you mind coming over and taking a look at it? So we did it, and it was a little bit of a mess, but it was, I really liked it.
Almost there.
And I said, so Sharon, what'd you think about it? Well, Frank, there's an old saying. The pig doesn't have to sing well. That's Sharon.
Would anybody else like to come up? Stella, you have something about Sharon?
Can you
What
do
is
it
it,
where you are?
sweetheart?
There's no ramp on this stage.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a Faust fail.
No, it is. She's still gonna find the light, so watch your toes. All right, baby. What you got?
When I was born, instead of everybody else, staying in the hospital, Sharon was the one who rushed home to make me a book saying "Welcome to the World," and I felt really welcomed about that.
Actually, Joseph was about And Joseph and Sharon and I got to take a trip with Stella to
Pick cotton.
well, no, we
That we weren't supposed to pick.
we rented a cabin up in North Carolina mountains and spent some time up there for the kids to check out the trails and do all that stuff. And we were coming back, and the kids had seen all this cotton on all of the different roadsides, whatever. And she's like, "Jess, hey, we've seen a lot of cotton on this trip." And I'm like, yeah, well, it's just sort of the season, whatever. She's like, "I think the kids should have some, don't you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but this is all super private property. Like, I'm not supposed to just pick the crops.
So we
That's
ran
not a
in-
thing." And
we
so
ran
she's
in
like,
the-
"Come on, kids, let's do it. Jess, pull over, let's go." So we were like ninjas. So we just pulled over the side of the road and sent Stella and Joseph because we figured they were harder to shoot at. We were bigger targets, you see. So she played sentry, and I stayed in the car cursing all of them. And she was like, "Don't worry, it'll be fine. This car is dark and low to the ground." So then when it came time to selling that car, I called her. I was like, "If it's got bullet holes in it, bitch, it's yours." Like, they both treasured their cotton blossoms for their show and tell at school, and had quite the illicit
They mentioned
story
the illicitness
to share
of
with.
the
Yeah,
show and
well,
tell?
yeah, because the trespassing is the fun.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Just want to be. And we were
Anybody
terrible
else?
mimes, by the way. Could we change that? 'Cause that's me. times in town.
That's for sure. Speak for yourself. Is there someone else who would like to say something? Oh, Isabel.
So, some years ago, I was in the kitchen at Terry and Donna's house for God knows what party, and it was just me and Sharon, and I said to Sharon, believe it or not, when she first started performing, she was kind of self-conscious. Some of you may remember that, most of you probably don't, because you've seen her recently, so you know the take control of the stage and so on and so forth, Sharon. But she was a little self-conscious, and by the time that she and I were in the kitchen, she had almost like a 90-degree or 180-degree turn. You know, she had just kind of gotten over being self-conscious and just threw herself in performance and was a great, wonderful performer. So I asked her, I said, Sharon, what happened? You know, something happened because it was such a dramatic shift. And she said that at some point, she had just decided, she had made a conscious decision that she wanted to live life to the fullest. This was a long time ago. This was before she had Joseph. This was, you know, and that she didn't want to be afraid. She didn't want to be self-conscious. She didn't want to do things half-assed. She wanted to just get in there and do it. And I thought, I mean, you know, that's a remarkable thing. And that was
That's a choice.
Sharon? More important thing, do it.
Sharon is the reason. She introduced me to this.
Thanks a lot, Scott.
Have you forgiven her in jest, guys?
I'm trying to record this for family who can't be here.
She was like the best role model, as Isabel said. She was fearless. She had no problem being a prostitute. She had no problem having water thrown at her at multiple stages in a play. She just went for it. But I think one of the other things is how much trust she had in everybody. Because I still remember this to this day, and I'm going to throw Isabel under the bus a little. So
What have I done now?
we were actually doing a recording. I think it was when we recorded Mickee for
Oh,
the
I
radio.
know what you're going to talk about.
I know, it didn't happen. I know.
Hush, hush. Now, usually with the recordings, we bring Joseph along, and Joseph actually, we've been doing recordings for so long, Joseph knows the drill. He just sits there, has like a colored book or something to do, and, you know, be quiet while we're recording. And, you know, we recorded our bit for McBeef, and we came out, and Joseph wasn't there. And Isabel wasn't there. And I was like, is there a note? And of course Susan's like, this is Isabel, come on. And I'm like, where the hell is Joseph? I'm like a little weirded out. Sharon? I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure they're fine. And I'm like looking at her, like, this is your child! You do not know where your child is! What is wrong with you? I didn't say that to her because I didn't want to get asked. But in my head, I'm like, why aren't you more worried? Eventually.
Worrying is your job, Scott.
Yeah, I know.
Ring
Looks like a child is missing. I think that's, yeah. But eventually, Isabel and Joseph come back. They went for a nice little walk. And I say to Isabel, you know, it's like, why did you leave a note? It's like, why? And I'm like,
Kidnapping is why.
kidnapping. But like I said, I think Sharon knew that she felt safe with everybody here. And I like to think that we felt safe with her. That we could go there with some of these kids and fly without a net, and she'd catch us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's it.
Sharon! Scott had a wonderful idea. He found one of you'll see there's a picture of Sharon doing a thing called Balancing Act.
Oh,
And it was
yeah.
about, she wrote it, and it was about all of the demands on her life, you know?
Well,
all of it. And Scott said, we need to do this in the spring cabaret. We need to do something
Yeah.
for Sharon that she wrote that represents her. And it was his idea, and I think it's a really lovely
like it.
idea.
Yeah.
How about casting that one?
I have a couple ideas. We will see. Oh.
Just want to give two quick vignettes about what Sharon was like. The first one, some years ago, Allison, 2014 maybe, we did Venus in Fur. Some of you may know that show, some of you don't. I'm not going to try and encapsulate it, but let's say it's about the relationships of men and women in ways beyond the usual. And I was directing, and I asked Sharon to be the assistant director, which was a very, very, very wise choice. And one day, I don't remember the content, Allison, maybe you do. I gave some direction to the actors. And the first break, Sharon came to me. Now, Sharon being Sharon, did not handle this by saying to me, "Don't you think that was a little sexist, you fucking idiot?" Sharon didn't say that. Now, I'm from New York. That's in my comfort zone. You can say that. Sharon just looked at me and said, with a priceless expression, "Let me tell you how a woman might look at that." Which was much worse than being called a fucking sexist. That direction got revoked. And I took her down a few times to Tampa, to the cancer center. And, those, of course, were not easy trips. But there was one time we went, and the doctors showed comparing two different of the scans, whatever they are, which were the same, and said, the tumor has stopped growing. And we were incredibly happy. And we went that night to, anybody know the Columbia restaurant in Tampa?
Oh, yeah.
Fabulous, fabulous Cuban restaurant. Well, we had this feast, and one of the dishes was an appetizer of fried calamari. And if you've ever had that at Columbia, you will know, be sure and order it. And at the end of the meal, at one point she said, every trip here I leave with some enduring memory. And the enduring memory of this trip is the fried calamari. And I said, I guess it doesn't get any better than that. Here we are, and that's what we're taking away. So anyway, Sharon was the kindest, the most wonderful person. So I have no drink. I only have one usable hand, but we're going to pretend.
Sharon! Wait. Do you know what he did?
Oh, no.
Yes, I am. He brought in friends who could not afford to come and see her. He flew them in to see her in these last days of her life. I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Please don't let it fall.
Oh, no.
Put it on this side.
It's okay.
Just watch the gap between them, Jeff. Mind the gap, please. Can I get you a drink?
I think you're SOL.
This was mentioned in the service earlier, and I mentioned it in my own thing on Facebook, so I'm gonna tell the stilt story. 2003, Theater a la carte, we were doing this show called Scrooge. Jackie, hit me if I remember anything wrong. She and I were crew, and the director of the play had decided that Sharon would be the ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. Had to be very, very tall, so he got her drywall stilts. So, only about, I think that tall. like 3-foot stilts, but still. So we were doing we were late on in the rehearsal process, and we had started doing curtain call. I think it was our first night on curtain call. So everybody came out, everybody did the thing, you know, the smiles, the bows, all of that, and they're all standing there waiting for Eric to say what to do next. Sharon's in the back row, she just quietly starts going. With the stilts on, the crew is directly stage right next to her. We are losing it laughing. Eric finally goes, "What's going on back there?" And then he realizes the ghost is dancing. And so for every single rehearsal curtain call from then on, and during the pickup rehearsal, she would dance during it, but not during performance because she was always a professional. But that's the kind of person she was. She was always willing to cut up, make somebody laugh. She taught me how to pratfall between rehearsals and Scrooge. Actually, I would do it, but we have flowers, and I tend to get wide. Because that's how you do it. But she would teach me back in the shop in what was then the Tallahassee Little Theater, now Theater Tallahassee. But she would go, "Okay, just go limp, push your hands out, and slap the floor."
Yeah.
And so I've taken that. I've taught other people. You know.
There she is on stilts right there.
Yeah. Was that? I guess that was the second.
That giant monkey in the back and Sharon on drywall stilts.
So that's where she got the practice from. Yes.
Sorry, that's me topless.
There you go. But yeah, that was always Sharon. She had fun with theater, and she made everybody else have fun, really, whether they wanted to or not. And she always made any production she was involved with that much more fun.
Yes.
Is there anyone else who wishes to come up?
I'm not gonna come up.
Let other people have their turn. Yeah.
So I don't know a lot of folks here, and I didn't know Sharon as well as so many of you guys did. But she, I'm still kind of wrecked, so I don't know how you guys are holding up. She was in an improv troupe with me that I started because I thought I needed some extra money.
Well, that worked out.
At the Comedy Zone. Yeah.
Such a surefire approach.
So clearly I had no idea how it worked. And I needed a lot of help, and she was there for every step of the way, trying to decide about the name, the marketing that she enlisted. I had to take promotional photos of us and all this great stuff. She was always willing to take risks on stage, so it must have been after that pledge she made to live life to its fullest. One of my, there's a bunch of scenes that, like, from rehearsal and shows I have in my head, but the one that stands out so much to me is we were doing this game that was pitching movies, right? So we're in a line, there were producers asking us what we want to pitch. She says, he asked about format. She says hers is a pygmy opera. She just blurts it out, and then she's like, okay, clearly that's the one the audience picks.
Yes.
I remember this. So I'm up there with, like, the loveliest and whitest group of people I've ever worked with. We're all, trying to portray an African tribe singing opera. But she committed. She gave us, like, so many great, like beginnings to scenes. She was always, putting herself out there for scenes, whether it was in rehearsal or in performance. She was always 100%. And she also, this is one word, like I said, we didn't really get to hang out a whole lot, like a lot of you guys had, but we had coffee right before I moved away from town, and the one thing I won't ever forget is that the reason I didn't get so much into theater, I'd been married and divorced, and I felt like so many people knew so much stuff about that, and I was so like, and so I expressed it to her, and she says, "How long ago was that?" And I was like, 5 years. She goes, "To everybody else, that's ancient history." And it was like this burden lifted off my shoulders. And that was like the little bit of Sharon that I got to know and care for. And, you know, I just, like, I don't know, I'm just glad that, like, she had so many fantastic friends, because she deserved that more than anyone. So.
Sharon.
She had a lot of friends that were fans.
Come on out.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, first off, I was always very envious of anybody that looked that good with so little effort. Someone earlier called her fearless, and I used that. I think of her, I was in that piece, I'm the guy on the left in the balancing act that looks like him. And every night I had to come down the stairs, from the top of those stairs on the stage, and I had a 10-foot piece of PVC pipe that was her balancing act as a tightrope walker. So I had to come down those stairs and threw it at her every night. Then, you know, here, Sharon, don't you need your pole? And threw it all the way across the stage. She was clear on the other side of the stage. And I really had to overcome that. I didn't want to throw this thing at her. And every night, without fail, every rehearsal, every single performance, everything, she just grabbed it out of the air and went on with the show. But one of the things about her was her sense of fairness and social justice, as it were. And at one point, we were comparing notes about breast forms. And it turned out that she was a little irked that breast forms for trans people have nipples, and people having vasectomies have to pay extra.
Nipples for everyone.
Come on out.
It's the same principle as ladies' razors. Why do they cost more?
I'm not going to say a whole lot, except that Sharon and I were part of what was described as a confrontationally strange play that is now a musical. It was called In the House of the Moles, written by one Terry Galloway, and she was my little sister, and that whole cast to me was just truly a family. My older sister was Eden Rush.
Your mother was Jeanette.
And my mother was Jeanette. Mickey Duty was my other sister. I don't remember. So, but I remember that it was such a wonderful cast of people to work with. We just had a lot of fun. We were really able to gel very quickly. And my favorite thing to do was to take hedge clippers and just go like this, and have her flinch every single time. Like I said, it was a confrontationally strange play. But the thing, there she was in the Weimer house. The thing that I saw up here is I saw the images of her as Gloria Swan Song on stage in Jake Ratchet. But she was, by far, the best Rose Simper on the radio.
Yes.
You would have just died to listen to this woman. You would have thought, oh my God, this is a sex pot. And so, it was just lovely to have her in radio. And I want to let you all know, this is a little advertisement. We are going to be playing kind of the best of Sharon Moskowitz. Diana and I have talked about
Oh.
this. And so we will be, our next radio show will be a tribute to Sharon.
Is anyone else who'd like to?
I'm gonna slide in here because I have two things. One's mine, one's from a friend. And mine's tied to that show. because I moved to Tallahassee after my life went to shit elsewhere. And that first weekend, some friends were like, "You need cheering up, dude. Come see this."
Oh,
Not really a happy show.
Yeah, when you're not feeling really good, watching Susan chase Sharon with imaginary hedge clippers. It actually is how I think of Sharon and that entire cast and a whole lot of you crazy people. I watched that show, I laughed my ass off. I said, I think I'm gonna stick around here.
You're a keeper, baby.
I'm turning it around. Sharon, you changed my life. Thank you! That's how I remember Sharon. She is a life changer. Now, a bunch of you know Sam Atwood, who's in Maine, and wishing he could be here today. So this morning he woke up and he wrote something he sent to me to share with you along with his love. Please take huge heaping handfuls of it. And Sam says, while we're remembering Sharon today, I'm sure she was up early hiking the Summerlands, cooled off with a swim in the river Styx, had a passionate and thoroughly researched debate with some sinners and saints over lunch, spent the afternoon choreographing a piece for the Aurora Borealis, and is currently getting dolled up for a night drinking and singing in Valhalla. She's not going to stay up too late, though, because she's going to want to be fresh in the morning for climbing the cliffs of Mars, then helping to improve some pieces of quantum mechanics. The Sharon Sam knows and loves is not resting in peace. She's kicking ass and taking names and challenging the universe with her unique blend of brilliance, stubbornness, passion, and kindness.
Sharon is
Okay, I'm gonna leave that there for Sharon from Sam.
That was a good one.
Is there anyone else who'd like to?
Me.
That's Sam, man. I cried 3 times and got it out of my system.
It's been hard. It's been hard.
You're good.
All right, now talk about a tough fucking act to follow. Okay? I want to say that I have spent a lot of time on stage with Sharon. She was always wonderful. Call me Ishmael. One of my favorite pieces, and then, of course, there was the wonderful, and I'm so proud to have been a part of it, The House of the Moles, thank you, which is now a fucking musical that I can't do. And I'm older now. But I spent months in that bathroom. I spent in that bathroom waiting for my cue. I want you to know that the chemistry between me and Sharon was fucking phenomenal. As all the cast and their interaction, as Susan said, talk about a family. Yeah, they were, and all their warts and everything, they were a family. After so many long, stinky months in the toilet, Sharon, after it was all over with, bless her heart, God, I loved her so much, she put on the wall. She went in there and put a big heart. It says, ugly girl loves pretty girl. And that was the play, and the fact that we had loved each other for so many months, and that I had spent so much time in the stinky fucking bathroom. So, when some no good SOB, whoever it may be, painted over it, me and Sharon went ballistic. What the hell? They painted over that? They painted over that? Of course, we got over it. I think that Sharon had probably one of the best radio voices I have ever heard in my life.
Yes.
And we just did a wonderful, again, Terry Galloway, thank you, production of Macbeth. But when we did McBeef, I was a witch there too. I'm cast type, what can I say? I'll never forget every night Jimmers and Diana and I were upstairs drinking wine because we're really kind of done then. And you hear Christy, who was wonderful, saying, out, down, spot, out. And every night I heard it, I just said, I heard Sharon saying it. I never heard Christy say it. I heard Sharon, out, down, spot, out. Okay. That's why I was a witch. So, Sharon, you gave me tears and laughter and so many fun times on the stage. Thank you, darling. All right, now, Mommy, help me.
I got you, girl.
Thank you, baby.
Only I can follow fast like myself.
What do you want to say, baby?
2 words.
2 words.
2 words?
Sharon was amazing.
She's 7. Sorry. She can't count.
I don't believe it.
Okay, let's tell us one thing happened. Okay.
Lewis.
Lewis.
Well,
Yes, please.
let me just say this real quick.
Go ahead.
I wanted to tell you that also, we have a lot of Faust people who are not here in Tallahassee. For example, Shayna, and you've seen some of Shayna's portraits that are absolutely beautiful. The non-Faust pictures, the ones, you know, in the pretty summer dress that she's wearing, those photos were taken by Shayna. And Jordan, who are in New York. We also
Betts is in D.C.
Donna Betts, who's in D.C., Aaron Schmidt in D.C., Jeff Gray in D.C. So we have a lot of our friends who are out of town, and they wanted to deliver flowers today, and I said to them, we can't because I don't know who's going to be here.
Yeah.
So we bought on their behalf for y'all this this orchid. And just wanted to let you know that the friends from out of town were really, you know, very sad that they couldn't be here and really wanted to be here and wanted to manifest that. So.
Cool.
Thank you.
Before I speak,
There you go.
okay. One time I was with Sharon at Dragon Con. We were watching the Atlanta Radio Theater perform. During the performance, she turned to me and says, "Why can't we do that?" I said, "We can do that." So when we got back to Tallahassee, we decided to form our own radio group. So we had Sharon, we got anyone we can rope in from Faust that we knew.
Scott.
And
Yep.
we even got Ed because he didn't have to appear in front of people. And he's a great radio actor.
He really is.
Yes.
Just amazing.
Perfect snark.
But it was because of her initiative to get me started, to get us started, that allowed me to express my creativity I couldn't have done if she hasn't been there to push. And we're gonna miss that about her. Yeah. Sharon.
Is there anyone else? I would just like to say 2 things. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your daughter-in-law. Thank you for sharing your wife, Joseph. Thank you for sharing your mother. And I want to say, we loved her, we cherished her, and she didn't want to die any more than any of us wants to die. And when I thought of her, there is a thing I love, and it's on Christ Church. Men are fools who wish to die. Is it not fine to dance and sing as the bells of death doth ring with a hey nutty do, Hey, naughty no, is it not fine? To swim in wine and turn upon the toe as the seas flow, the winds blow with a hey, naughty no. I love Sharon, so we all did, and I thank you for sharing her with us. I'm so sorry she's gone.
To Sharon.
Sharon. I hope she wants to go.